Welcome to Elderly Pathways, where we dive deep into the evolving journey of relationships as we age. Join us as we explore the challenges, growth, and transformations that come with long-term partnerships. From navigating emotional shifts to managing physical changes, financial pressures, and personal growth, we offer insights and practical advice to help you strengthen your bond and rediscover fulfillment. Whether it's addressing unresolved conflicts, rekindling intimacy, or balancing responsibilities, our mission is to guide you towards a more connected, purposeful, and joyful life. Subscribe and stay tuned for more ways to grow together on your unique journey. As time passes, relationships naturally evolve, and the feelings that once felt so deep and full of love may eventually shift. What once seemed like admiration can sometimes transform into frustration or even resentment. This is a common experience for many long-term couples, though it's not always understood why this happens. Behind this shift are real and tangible reasons that can be traced back to both external factors and internal changes in personal growth. This process isn't a mystery, but rather a reflection of how individuals and relationships change over time. When two people first meet, the connection often feels effortless. The excitement of a new relationship, the passion, and the curiosity about one another create an environment where everything feels fresh and promising. Early on, both partners are often quick to embrace each other's quirks, habits, and imperfections. The little things, like a spontaneous sense of humor or the way one forgets to put things away, become sources of affection. At this stage, the future appears open, and love feels like a force that can sustain them through any challenge or obstacle. However, as the years go by, these early idealistic views start to collide with the reality of daily life. Responsibilities accumulate. There are career demands, financial pressures, and the challenges of raising children or managing a home. The relationship that once seemed effortless now requires more deliberate attention and care. People change over time, and this transformation is inevitable. Each person undergoes their own personal growth, influenced by life's trials, successes, and experiences. As individuals mature, they develop new perspectives, interests, and goals. For some couples, this personal growth fosters a deeper bond. They adapt to these changes together, supporting each other's evolving needs and aspirations. Yet for others, the changes may lead to drifting apart. What initially brought them together, shared values, common dreams, may now be at odds with who they have become as individuals. As they evolve, so do their expectations about what love and partnership should look like. And when those expectations aren't met, frustration can set in. In the early days of a relationship, a woman might admire her husband for his ambition, his lighthearted attitude, or his ability to make difficult situations seem less serious. These qualities could have been endearing at first, especially when they provided balance to the relationship. But as time passes, these traits might no longer feel as charming. His ambition, once admired, could now feel like an obsession with work, leaving her feeling neglected. His playful attitude might seem more like a refusal to take things seriously. The habits that once made him unique can become sources of irritation, creating a subtle yet growing tension between the couple. As time goes on, a woman might find herself expecting more from the relationship. While she may have tolerated his lack of communication skills or his emotional distance in the past, she now craves something deeper. The early patience for unresolved issues or minor annoyances may fade. She begins to want a relationship where both partners truly hear each other, where she feels valued and understood, not just in terms of the physical contributions each partner makes to the household, but emotionally too. This is a crucial shift, as women often want a reciprocal relationship where emotional fulfillment is just as important as shared responsibilities. At the same time, societal shifts play a role in this evolution. In earlier decades, many women were socialized to accept traditional roles within their relationships, often shouldering the majority of domestic and emotional labor, while their husbands focused on providing financially. These roles, while functional at the time, may not feel as fulfilling as women grow older and become more aware of their personal needs. As societal expectations change, women begin to reconsider what they want from their relationships and whether their marriage is still aligned with their own evolving goals and desires. When women begin to realize that they are emotionally unfulfilled or feel unheard in their marriage, the distance between them and their partners can increase. The sense of disconnection deepens when both partners fail to acknowledge these changing needs. In these moments, the idea of love will be enough may feel like an illusion. It's not that love itself has changed, but the way it is expressed and the expectations around it have shifted. Couples who succeed in maintaining a strong bond over time are those who are proactive in nurturing their relationship, adapting together as they grow. They continue to align their emotional needs and goals, even as their individual lives evolve. But for those who fail to address these shifts, the gap between expectations and reality widens. What once was a fulfilling partnership now feels like a daily struggle, with both partners unsure of how to bridge the emotional distance between them. This doesn't necessarily mean that the love is gone, but it may have changed in form, requiring both partners to rediscover it through better communication, mutual understanding, and emotional growth. As relationships evolve, one of the most noticeable changes is the shifting balance of responsibilities within the partnership. Early on, a marriage may feel like a shared adventure, with both partners contributing equally to various aspects of life. However, over time, these roles can become uneven, particularly when it comes to the physical and emotional demands of running a household and managing a family. For many women, the expectations placed on them often grow over time, resulting in a sense of imbalance that can strain the relationship. In the beginning, responsibilities in a marriage might appear fairly distributed. Couples may divide tasks or take turns in managing different aspects of life. There's an inherent sense of partnership that comes from sharing the load together. But as the years go by, the weight of these responsibilities often starts to fall more heavily on one partner, usually the woman. Despite the progress made in many relationships where men have become more involved in household chores and child rearing, the burden of emotional labor often remains largely with women. This labor is often invisible, but it is essential for the smooth functioning of a family. Emotional labor encompasses a wide range of responsibilities, from remembering birthdays and planning family events, to managing conflicts among children and organizing appointments. The mental load required to keep the family functioning smoothly often rests on women's shoulders. In many marriages, this imbalance grows even more pronounced as children get older and become more independent. While many might assume that the pressures of parenting ease as children grow up, the reality is that the mother's role often shifts. Instead of merely ensuring the children are fed and dressed, she now becomes the emotional guide for her children, helping them navigate academic challenges, emotional struggles, and career choices. Furthermore, women often find themselves managing the needs of aging parents while simultaneously dealing with the pressures of their own careers and maintaining the household. This overwhelming sense of responsibility can lead to feelings of exhaustion, frustration, and isolation, particularly when there is little support from their spouse. If a husband has been passive or disengaged in these areas, the contrast between their involvement and the wife's emotional and physical labor becomes stark, often leading to feelings of resentment. A significant issue arises when the woman feels like she is carrying the majority of these responsibilities alone. For many men, the financial contribution they make may seem like enough, but they often fail to recognize the toll that emotional labor takes. They may not see the importance of managing a family's well-being, keeping track of household needs, or ensuring the emotional health of their partner and children. This can create a growing divide where the woman begins to feel that her role is undervalued and unappreciated. The imbalance of responsibility isn't just about physical labor, it's also about the emotional and mental toll that comes with managing multiple roles. As the years pass, this imbalance can cause a deeper emotional rift between partners. The woman who once felt close to her husband may begin to feel like she is navigating life on her own, even within the marriage. She may start to question whether her efforts are recognized or if her needs are truly being met. Over time, this emotional burden can erode the connection she once had with her partner. If the imbalance continues unchecked, it can lead to emotional withdrawal, where the woman becomes disengaged from the relationship. She might redirect her energy into her children, her career, or even personal hobbies, seeking fulfillment elsewhere because she feels that her emotional needs aren't being met within the marriage. When there's no partnership in managing the responsibilities of daily life, the sense of isolation within a marriage grows. Women who feel unsupported or unnoticed may start to feel like they are carrying the weight of the world alone. This dynamic creates emotional distance where both partners may feel unappreciated or disconnected from each other. Unfortunately, if left unaddressed, these feelings can create lasting damage to the relationship, and the emotional gap can become difficult to bridge. As this imbalance persists, women may begin to reconsider their happiness and fulfillment within the marriage. They may start to wonder whether they could achieve a more balanced and fulfilling life outside of the marriage, or whether the partnership can be repaired. Without open communication and a clear acknowledgement of these struggles, the resentment that builds up over time can permanently affect the relationship. This issue is not just about the distribution of tasks or the amount of time spent on domestic duties. It's about the emotional investment that one partner makes and the recognition of that effort. Without understanding from both partners and a shared commitment to equal partnership, the emotional distance between them can grow significantly. Couples who are able to confront these issues together, redistributing responsibilities and recognizing the emotional toll of these duties, are often able to maintain a stronger connection. By acknowledging the emotional labor and the changing roles within the relationship, couples can begin to address the growing divide that can form over time. Open communication and mutual appreciation for each other's efforts are key to preventing this imbalance from damaging the relationship. When both partners are equally invested in the emotional and physical well-being of the family, the relationship can remain strong despite the inevitable changes that come with time. Over time, the intimacy in a relationship often faces a slow decline. What was once a strong physical and emotional bond can eventually feel disconnected, leaving one or both partners feeling unfulfilled. Sexual intimacy, after all, is not just a physical connection. It's an emotional one as well, rooted in trust, affection, and mutual care. However, as time passes, various factors, both internal and external, can influence the way intimacy is experienced in long-term marriages, leading to a growing sense of dissatisfaction. For many women, one of the first significant shifts in intimacy comes with the physiological changes brought about by aging. Hormonal fluctuations, such as those associated with menopause, can have a direct impact on sexual desire and satisfaction. The decrease in estrogen levels can lead to a reduced libido and discomfort during intercourse, and a general sense of fatigue. These physical changes often create a gap in the couple's sexual connection, as the woman may not feel as drawn to intimacy as she once did. This shift can leave both partners confused and frustrated, especially if they do not openly communicate about the changes happening in their bodies. However, it's not only physical changes that affect intimacy in a marriage. External pressures, such as work-related stress, caregiving responsibilities, and the emotional toll of managing household duties, can leave little room for sexual connection. Women often juggle multiple roles: mother, caregiver, career woman, partner, and the mental and emotional exhaustion that accompanies these responsibilities can diminish their desire for physical intimacy. When a woman feels overwhelmed by the demands of life, the last thing on her mind may be sex. But this doesn't mean that the need for intimacy is any less important. For men, the experience of intimacy can also change as they age. Some may experience a decrease in testosterone levels, which can lead to challenges such as erectile dysfunction or a reduced ability to maintain intimacy in the way they once did. In other cases, men may become emotionally distant, preoccupied with work, or simply take their partner's presence for granted. The lack of affection or attention, whether physical or emotional, can lead to an unintentional neglect of their wife's needs. When a husband no longer expresses affection through the small gestures that once created intimacy, like a kiss, a touch, or even just meaningful conversation, the wife may begin to feel emotionally isolated. Intimacy doesn't solely refer to the act of sex. It's about creating a connection, both physically and emotionally, that reinforces trust and affection. As intimacy declines, this emotional gap widens. The wife may start feeling undesirable, unappreciated, or disconnected from her husband. The physical absence of affection can manifest in subtle ways, such as fewer compliments or less time spent together in meaningful ways. Over time, these small neglects can grow into larger issues. In many marriages, the lack of intimacy doesn't just affect the bedroom. The absence of physical closeness, like hugging, hand-holding, or casual touches, can lead to a deeper emotional distance. Couples may find themselves going through the motions of daily life without truly connecting with one another. This emotional disengagement can start with small acts of indifference, but, if left unaddressed, can turn into resentment. For the woman, this lack of intimacy can create a sense of loneliness. She may begin to feel that her emotional and physical needs are unmet, which can lead to frustration and even anger. Over time, this frustration can erode the foundation of love and companionship within the marriage, making it difficult to reconnect on a meaningful level. In some cases, the woman may begin to feel that her needs are being ignored, and this can lead to a sense of emotional withdrawal. She may no longer prioritize the relationship in the way she once did, investing her time and energy in other areas of her life, such as her career, children, or even hobbies, as a way to fill the emotional void. If left unchecked, these emotional and physical separations can lead to significant dissatisfaction within the relationship. A lack of intimacy doesn't just create frustration, it creates a divide that can feel insurmountable. When intimacy begins to fade, partners may struggle to remember how they once shared affection and connection. The physical and emotional distance can leave them questioning whether the relationship can ever be rekindled. Yet the good news is that intimacy, like any aspect of a relationship, can be restored with effort. Acknowledge the changes that have occurred, both physically and emotionally, and approach these issues with understanding and patience. For women, this may mean addressing their own physical needs, whether that's seeking medical advice for menopausal symptoms or simply taking the time to prioritize self-care. For men, it might involve expressing more affection or showing empathy towards their partner's emotional and physical needs. Communication is key in this process. Couples who openly talk about their desires, frustrations, and expectations are more likely to find ways to reconnect and rebuild their intimacy. This might mean reestablishing physical closeness, scheduling regular date nights, or simply making time for meaningful conversations. In some cases, professional counseling or therapy can be an excellent tool for couples who are struggling with intimacy. Working together to explore each other's emotional and physical needs can bring couples closer, rekindling the connection that may have been lost over time. Ultimately, the lack of intimacy in a relationship doesn't have to be a permanent issue. It requires mutual effort, empathy, and understanding. By acknowledging the challenges that come with aging, external pressures, and changing needs, couples can navigate these shifts in a way that strengthens their bond rather than weakening it. It's about rediscovering the importance of both emotional and physical connection and working together to keep that spark alive. In many long-term relationships, one of the most significant issues that arise over time is the gradual breakdown in communication. Early on, couples often make a conscious effort to discuss their feelings, express concerns, and resolve conflicts in a healthy way. However, as time passes and the relationship becomes more comfortable, many couples fall into routines that lack the depth of meaningful communication they once had. This shift can be subtle, but over time, it can create a chasm between partners that becomes increasingly difficult to bridge. At the start of a relationship, Both partners are invested in getting to know each other on a deep level. They listen attentively, engage in thoughtful discussions, and make an effort to resolve conflicts as they arise. These early conversations create a foundation of trust and emotional connection. But as the years go by, life becomes busier. There are careers to manage, children to raise, and other responsibilities that demand attention. In the midst of these external pressures, communication often starts to falter. Couples may find themselves talking less, assuming they already know what the other person is thinking and taking each other for granted. When communication breaks down, small issues that once seemed trivial are often left unaddressed. This may seem harmless at first, but unresolved conflicts tend to build up over time. What was once a minor disagreement over household chores or the management of finances can eventually grow into a major issue if it's not properly addressed. The emotional toll of these unresolved conflicts can create tension and frustration, leading to a deeper sense of dissatisfaction in the relationship. For women in particular, feeling unheard or misunderstood can be incredibly painful. They may bring up concerns, express frustrations, or share their emotional needs only to feel dismissed or invalidated. This lack of validation can create a sense of emotional detachment as the woman starts to retreat inwardly to protect herself from further disappointment. If she constantly feels like her feelings aren't taken seriously, it becomes harder for her to maintain the emotional connection she once had with her partner. Over time, this emotional disengagement can escalate. Initially, it may manifest as subtle disinterest in daily conversations or a decline in efforts to connect on a personal level. Both partners might continue going through the motions of daily life, but the bond that once held them together is no longer as strong. As this emotional distance grows, small irritations and unresolved issues can start to feel like insurmountable obstacles. What once seemed like minor annoyances now feel like major sources of stress and tension, and the couple may struggle to communicate effectively to resolve these problems. The emotional disconnection that builds as a result of poor communication can be compounded by a growing sense of resentment. When conflicts are not addressed, the unspoken frustration can turn into bitterness. A partner who once brought comfort and security may now be viewed as a source of frustration. This emotional rift can deepen, leaving both partners wondering if they can ever truly reconnect or if the issues that have accumulated over time are too much to overcome. Unfortunately, in many cases, couples continue to avoid difficult conversations out of fear that addressing the problem will only lead to more conflict. Some may convince themselves that the issue will resolve itself over time, or they may become resigned to the idea that certain problems are simply part of the relationship. However, this avoidance only makes things worse. The longer unresolved issues are ignored, the more entrenched they become in the relationship, creating an emotional barrier that is difficult to dismantle. This lack of communication can also manifest in a failure to address deeper issues in the relationship, such as unmet emotional needs, differing parenting styles, or even financial disagreements. Over time, these unresolved issues accumulate, leading to an erosion of trust and intimacy. Partners may begin to focus more on their differences and less on their shared goals and emotional connection. As a result, the relationship may begin to feel like a source of stress rather than support. For women, the lack of emotional fulfillment can feel like a growing void in the relationship. Even when physically present with their partner, they may feel emotionally alone. The disconnect between what they need and what they are receiving creates a sense of isolation. Over time, this emotional distance can evolve into feelings of resentment or even contempt. The partner who was once a source of love and security now feels like a source of constant frustration. This deepening emotional gap can be so profound that it becomes difficult to remember the positive aspects of the relationship that once brought them together. As the cycle of emotional disengagement continues, it can lead to a point where both partners question whether the relationship can ever be repaired. They may wonder if the love that once existed between them can be reignited, or if the accumulated pain and unresolved conflicts are too much to overcome. In many cases, couples may seek therapy or counseling in an attempt to address these issues and rebuild their communication. However, even with professional help, it often requires both partners to be fully committed to the process of healing and reconnection. For relationships to thrive, communication must be nurtured and maintained. It's not enough to simply go through the motions of daily life. Both partners need to actively engage with one another, share their feelings, and listen with empathy. It's important to acknowledge that unresolved conflicts do not just disappear. They fester, grow, and create emotional distance. The longer these issues go unaddressed, the harder it becomes to bridge the gap. Couples who prioritize open communication, mutual respect, and emotional support are more likely to overcome these challenges and build a stronger relationship over time. By addressing conflicts head-on and making the effort to understand each other's feelings, partners can work through their differences and strengthen their bond. This may require vulnerability, honesty, and patience, but the effort can be well worth it in the end. As time goes by, both individuals in a marriage often experience significant personal growth. These shifts in personal development, especially noticeable in women, are not always aligned with the growth of the relationship. Personal growth is a deeply transformative process, one that is driven by life's challenges, milestones, and transitions. For many women, this transformation becomes especially prominent as they enter middle age and reflect on their journey. This phase is often marked by a deep sense of introspection, which can be triggered by life-altering events or even subtle changes in perspective. It is during this period of self-reflection that many women begin to reassess their identity beyond the roles they have played in their marriage and family life. For years, many women devote themselves to their roles as wives, mothers, and caretakers, often putting their own needs and desires aside to prioritize the well-being of their families. They focus on raising children, maintaining the household, supporting their husbands, and managing the daily logistics of family life. But as children grow older and become more independent, or as the pressures of life begin to shift, many women find themselves facing a pivotal question. What comes next for me? The transition from raising children to experiencing an empty nest can be both liberating and unsettling. Suddenly, the focus is no longer on the day-to-day demands of parenting, and there is an opportunity for women to reflect on what they want from life moving forward. This shift in focus allows space for women to explore their own dreams and desires, things they may have put on hold while caring for others. Whether it's pursuing a new career, traveling, or taking up hobbies and passions long forgotten, women often feel compelled to rediscover themselves and create a life that is uniquely their own. As they reflect on their lives, many women come to the realization that they are more than just their roles within the family. They begin to explore who they are as individuals, outside the expectations of their marriage or societal norms. This period of personal growth can be deeply fulfilling, but it can also bring feelings of disillusionment, especially if the woman feels that her partner has not undergone a similar process of self-reflection or growth. If the husband has remained stagnant, emotionally or mentally, this contrast can create a growing emotional distance. In some marriages, the woman's growth and self-awareness are not fully acknowledged or supported by her partner. She may feel that she has spent years sacrificing her own desires and ambitions for the sake of the family, only to find that her husband has not made the same effort. This imbalance in personal growth can lead to frustration and resentment. A woman who has spent much of her life investing in her marriage and family may begin to feel that her emotional and personal needs have been overlooked. As she grows and becomes more aware of her own potential, she may begin to question whether her marriage is fulfilling the deeper needs she has for connection, growth, and self-expression. This period of self-reflection is a time of personal reinvention, where women can embrace a new sense of purpose and direction. They may seek out new goals and dreams, aiming to create a more meaningful and fulfilling life for themselves. This can be empowering, but it also requires courage. For women in long-term marriages, the desire to break free from the limitations of traditional roles can lead to a profound desire for independence, adventure, and personal fulfillment. However, these desires can clash with the expectations of their partner, especially if the husband feels threatened or resistant to change. The challenge for couples during this phase is to find a way to support each other's growth while maintaining the strength of their bond. Ideally, both partners would undergo this process of self-awareness together, with mutual understanding and support. However, if one partner is resistant to change or doesn't recognize the importance of personal growth, it can create tension and conflict in the marriage. The woman may feel that her pursuit of self-fulfillment is seen as a disruption to the relationship, leading to further emotional distance and frustration. In relationships where both partners are willing to explore their own personal growth, the bond can become stronger. Couples who are open to change and growth together often find that they develop a deeper understanding and appreciation for each other. As both individuals evolve, they create space for each other's dreams, desires, and ambitions. This mutual support fosters a sense of partnership and unity, allowing the relationship to thrive despite the challenges of life. However, for couples where one partner is unwilling to grow or acknowledge the personal transformations of the other, the emotional divide can widen. The woman may begin to feel that her personal journey is something she must undertake alone, leading to feelings of isolation and resentment. She may start to prioritize her own growth, investing more in herself and her desires rather than in the relationship. This shift can be a natural and necessary part of personal development, but if not properly supported, it can leave the relationship feeling disconnected and unfulfilling. In the end, personal growth is a crucial aspect of any long-term relationship. It's important that both partners are able to evolve individually while still maintaining a strong and supportive connection. Couples who encourage each other to grow and change together are more likely to experience lasting fulfillment. Those who fail to support one another's growth, however, may find that the emotional distance between them becomes too great to overcome. As time passes, the physical appearance of both partners inevitably changes. Aging is a natural process that affects everyone, but for many people, particularly women, these changes can have a profound impact on how they perceive themselves and how they feel within their relationships. For many women, these changes can lead to a shift in self-esteem and feelings of attractiveness, which may not only affect their own sense of worth, but can also impact the emotional dynamics of their marriages. The physical changes associated with aging, such as weight gain, wrinkles, changes in skin texture, or shifts in body shape, can lead to feelings of insecurity. For women, the loss of youthful appearance can often be tied to their self-worth and attractiveness. They may begin to feel less desirable, especially if their partner's affection or attention seems to diminish over time. These changes are a natural part of life, but they can trigger deep insecurities and a sense of loss, particularly if they feel that their partner is no longer as attracted to them as they once were. For some women, the emotional toll of aging can be exacerbated by the lack of physical affection from their husbands. If a husband no longer expresses the same level of admiration or attention as he did when they were younger, it can create emotional distance. The absence of compliments, physical touch, or affection can leave a woman feeling neglected and unappreciated. Over time, this lack of validation can lead to frustration, as the woman may start questioning her worth not just physically, but emotionally as well. Attraction in a relationship is about much more than just physical appearance. It's about feeling valued and desired on an emotional level. However, as the years go by, many couples find that their physical connection starts to wane, and this often leads to dissatisfaction in the relationship. The absence of intimate gestures like holding hands, hugging, or kissing can create a sense of emotional detachment. A lack of affection can leave both partners feeling lonely and disconnected from one another. For women, this disconnect can be particularly painful if they feel that their emotional and physical needs are no longer being met. Attraction is also tied to how each partner communicates their feelings and appreciation for each other. If a husband is preoccupied with work or other responsibilities and fails to acknowledge his wife's emotional and physical needs, it can lead to feelings of neglect. In some cases, men may also face their own struggles with aging, such as reduced libido or changes in their ability to maintain intimacy. And this can further impact the couple's connection. In these situations, it's important for both partners to understand that changes in physical appearance or sexual desire are natural and should be approached with patience, empathy, and open communication. When both partners are willing to discuss these issues openly and make an effort to reconnect, it is possible to preserve the emotional and physical bond that once existed. Small gestures of affection, such as compliments or simply spending time together, can help rebuild the attraction and intimacy that may have been lost over time. Acknowledging each other's physical changes and emotional needs can help couples navigate the challenges of aging together rather than letting these changes drive them apart. While physical changes can affect the dynamics of a relationship, another major factor that can create strain in a marriage is financial stress. As couples grow older, the financial pressures of life often become more pronounced. The responsibilities of securing a stable financial future, particularly saving for retirement, can create significant stress and anxiety. The looming uncertainty of future financial security, coupled with the stress of managing current expenses, can strain a marriage. Many couples find themselves grappling with the increasing costs of living, including mortgage payments, education expenses, healthcare, and the general cost of raising children. At the same time, they may be facing the challenge of managing debt, whether it's student loans, credit card balances, or the need to save for future goals. These financial pressures can create tension within a relationship, particularly if the couple has different approaches to managing money. In some marriages, there may be a misalignment in financial goals. One partner may prioritize saving for retirement, while the other may focus on enjoying the present or spending money on experiences or material possessions. These differing priorities can lead to conflict, as each partner may feel that their approach is the right one. Financial stress can also amplify underlying tensions in the marriage, making it harder to communicate openly and work together towards common goals. For many women, the financial burden often falls heavily on their shoulders. They are frequently the ones who manage household budgets, pay bills, and ensure that there is enough money to meet the needs of the family. When they feel that their partner is not equally contributing to the family's financial stability, whether through a lack of income or by not being involved in financial decision-making, it can lead to frustration and resentment. The emotional toll of managing finances, on top of other responsibilities like raising children or managing the household, can leave women feeling overwhelmed and unsupported. As the financial pressures mount, the emotional fatigue that comes with managing the family's finances can lead to emotional detachment. If one partner feels that they are carrying the financial load alone, they may begin to withdraw emotionally from the relationship. This can create a sense of isolation as the partner feels unsupported in both financial and emotional aspects of their life. It is essential for couples to communicate openly about their financial goals, responsibilities, and concerns. Financial stress doesn't have to drive a wedge between partners. It can be an opportunity for both partners to come together and work towards shared goals. However, this requires mutual understanding, cooperation, and a willingness to share the emotional and financial burdens equally. Without this open communication, financial stress can contribute to the emotional divide that is already present in the relationship. Ultimately, maintaining attraction in a relationship requires more than just physical appearance. It involves emotional connection, physical affection, and mutual respect. Similarly, managing financial stress requires cooperation and understanding. Couples who are able to navigate these challenges together while supporting each other's emotional and physical needs are more likely to maintain a strong, fulfilling partnership over time. By addressing both the emotional and practical aspects of their relationship, couples can continue to grow and thrive together, despite the inevitable changes that come with aging and the pressures of life. Thank you for watching Elderly Pathways. We hope these insights have inspired you to deepen your connection and navigate life's changes with your partner. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more valuable tips on building stronger, more fulfilling relationships. Remember, it's never too late to grow together. Stay tuned.